Ah. Okay, thanks everybody. Sorry for that delay. It was like last week all over again, except totally different. YouTube was working fine, but Facebook, they rearranged the setup and the way the going live page was, where everything was arranged, and there were some weird settings in there that I had to find and enable that were normally somewhere else. So yeah, Facebook. That's kind of what you expect, I suppose, isn't it? But we got it. We got it. Okay. Woo. And yeah, hello everybody. Hello, Janine and Katsurita and Kathy and Damaris and Jan and uh, Taylor and Gwendolyn. Hey, great to see you. Whew. Okay, this was not the day to do this because I have a lot of stuff to talk about today. So we'll see if I get to get everywhere with it. Hey, and hey, Harvey. Yes. Whew. It was and Kurt, a very touch and go there. Whenever they change an interface format or issue on Facebook, it can be really crazy because you don't normally see that screen until you're about to go live. So it's not something you can easily try out. You don't really know to look for it because everything else seems the same. There's probably somewhere I can keep an eye out to see when they make these changes, some forums or message boards, and I probably need to get in that because this is turning into a problem that around every 3 or 4 months I notice something like that and it can cause a problem. But hey, I'm stubborn, so we found it. Yeah, Damaris, how fast can you talk? Oh, mercy. Yeah. Okay, good. And that worked. Uh, and Katsuri, yes, Bog, that's a little different than me being a fast talker. I'm still a Southerner, so really I don't normally talk that fast. I don't think. Although, I don't know. I'm working on a little bit of adrenaline now, so we shall see. So yes, it has been an interesting week for me. I don't know if you can tell. Actually, I'd like to know if you can. Can you see a difference on the screen as far as the quality of the video and the interface or anything different? I mean, does it look any clearer or better quality to you? It should. I have the new video interface for my camera going in, and that should, from what I can tell, the quality is much better. Um, so yeah, I'm just wondering if you can you tell a difference? Does it look any better than a few weeks ago? Seems better. Okay, yeah, it should. It's doing a couple of different things. Better color conversion, definitely. A little better quality using newer standards so that there's higher quality video. Um, and I'm bringing it in at 60 frames per second as opposed to 30. Now I'm still sending it up to you at 30 frames per second, but it tends to be smoother when you do it that way. You bring it in at 60, you do some editing, put graphics up, and then when you send it out, it does a great job making it blend well, so it's less blurring. But yeah, maybe if I do a concert in the future, I'll leave it at 60 and stream it at 60 frames per second, so you can see the hands move and everything's a lot clearer. But yeah, I was really happy. I also got to test out a new video input, and I've talked to y'all a little bit about that in the past. That I was looking into that for bringing guests onto the show, or doing online shows with other people or whatever. And this is, oh my gosh, I did a video podcast with my old bandmate Mark Gunn for our Patreon page, and it was well, actually, I think I've got a shot here. Let me see. I think so. Yeah, there you go. You can kind of see it, and you can see both me and him. He's in Atlanta sending me this video in real time, and wow, right? I mean, the quality is much better than what you'd get on a Zoom call or anything. I mean, it is very crisp, and um, it's there's pretty much no difference from what he sent me to me doing it from the camera. Is pretty much the gist of it. So that is really cool. I'm really happy about that. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to bringing in some guests and going that route. It should be really clear and some great options for the future as far as music shows and things like that. That's something I've been working on for a long time, trying to optimize that because I've been very frustrated with getting video through Zoom or any other service it's never that good, never as good as I'd like. And this seems to take care of that. I can customize it to ridiculous levels and bring it in however I want. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been working on. Oh, and yeah, I've also been, well, what can I say? Preparing for Sherwood a little bit. So yes, Sherwood for me is this weekend. Sherwood Forest Fair, just outside of Austin, is starting this weekend. So I'll be performing the full run there, 8 straight weekends. And that will be crazy because what that means is, yeah, every weekend before this show, Monday, I'm going to be pretty tired. It's probably what's going to happen. So you're going to see me kind of doing the zombie thing, but that's kind of what's been going on with me. I'm going to stop it there because, gosh, it's already 7:18 and this should normally be about 7:07 at this point. But hey, Drew, great to see you. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Sherwood and it should be exciting. So that is good. But yeah. I guess the other thing that's been going on, well, actually, okay, let me tell you a story real quick. This is a good one. It's kind of sounds Shakespearean. There are 2 kings who are brothers. And one, well, let's just say they're both a little envious and jealous of the other. Very strange for brothers, I know, but let's just say they are. And one marries fairly well. A good notable wife, good money, good political ties, all of that. The other king marries very well. I mean, we're talking Visigoth princess here. And huge dowry, lot of influence, and it gets married to her. Now, the first brother, he's jealous. He's not happy about that. And he's got a servant girl who is interested in being the next queen. So she says, you can do better than your current wife, and convinces him to divorce and disown his wife, send her to a convent. But she doesn't choose her. He goes off and gets the Visigoth princess's sister to match his brother. Well, she doesn't want any of that. She's kind of like, I haven't given up. And over time convinces him that she's not the girl for him. He's already got the dowry. So they plot and decide to kill her. They strangle her. Either individually or together, not sure. But yeah. And so she becomes queen. The stepsister of the Visigoth princess and she killed her sister. Now, does this sound like a new HBO miniseries? Kind of does to me, right? It really does, but no, this is a true story from the Dark Ages, from the 7th century. Can you believe that? And it's a bit of that history that you don't normally get to hear about. Now, the 2 queens I mentioned, the Visigoth princess was Brunhild, and the servant girl was Fridegund. And they married into the Merovingian kings. And this was in the late 500s, early 600s. So we're talking early Dark Ages, right after the fall of the Roman Empire kind of time. So they had such a strong influence that they ruled for decades at a time when if you ruled for more than 10 years, it was ridiculous. I mean, popes didn't last that long. It was unheard of. But they ruled for decades, plotted against each other, killed each other's family members. Eventually Brunhild, after ruling for 46 years, ridiculous, was eventually after several battles and everything was taken, and at the age of I think over 70 years old, she 4 horses were tied to her different limbs, and she was taken apart, and at the age of over 70, because that's what you do to rulers like that. Yes, Jan, it is. It's a really good story, and I mean, the interesting. I mean, okay. Well, let's go ahead and show a little bit of that. This is Brunhild and her sister-in-law, so to speak, Fridegund. And yeah, now they were the inspiration for the classic Norse heroine, Brunhilde. I mean, we're talking straight from operatic works of Wagnerian fame. And I mean, this is like the stereotype of opera itself. I mean, we're talking about the woman with the spear and the armor and the helmet. That's Brunhilde. And that's where the story comes from. Yes, Drew, the Ring Saga, Ring of the Nibelungen. But yes, it is. It's an interesting history. Now, of course, Brunhilde. I first learned about Brunhilde, probably where some of you learned about her too. All of the influences and parodies done of her, of course, in this, hey, awesome, right? But yeah, always the Wagnerian stuff. But really, the history is quite fascinating, and I just love it. It's oh, also yeah, actually, let's go ahead and jump over to that word of the week since we're doing this, and I mentioned it, and it's bringing it up. Let's go with that. It is disruption, which is a type of dismemberment brought about by chaining 4 horses to the condemned arms and legs, thus making them pull them apart. Some people have said that was being drawn and quartered, but that's totally something else. That is not it. Disruption is the title that it's been given. That's more 17th century, but but that type of punishment had been done for many, many years, mainly to people who tried to kill kings. It wasn't commonly done, nowhere near as much as people think. But this is one of those times it was. Yeah, I know. And you're not wrong. That would disrupt my day too, Katsurita, definitely. Yes. Definitely. But why I bring this up, I mean, yes, I love history and all of that, and it is a great thing. But why I bring this up is a nice little book called The Dark Queens, and we'll get over there to that. Yes, just got released last week, and it is this story is one of those kind of forgotten stories and forgotten histories because it's about strong women, and the male historians afterwards, they either completely obliterated it from history or they vilified them as women who tried to rise too far and got burned, kind of thing, as a warning to the future. Yeah, you know how that goes. But it's, I love these stories this history that is fascinating, but we don't hear about. And the books about this were all in like French or German. You didn't really find them in English, and that's a problem. Nothing, not even out of print ones. And so finally got Shelley Puhack finally put this together because she was interested in it. And so far, I've only gotten a little bit into it, but it's really interesting. It just got released last week. The reviews on it are very good. Give it a shot. Check it out if you're interested. But yeah, it's pretty much just like Game of Thrones and how crazy it is with all of the intrigue. I mean, if they don't make a miniseries out of this sometime soon, I'll be shocked. It's kind of like that. So something to check out. I just wanted to mention it because I know I'm probably the only one who likes history in this group, but I thought I'd mention it just in case. But yeah, check it out. And also, always good to spread good writers about topics that aren't necessarily mainstream, but yeah, help a good writer out. So yes, that's a little bit of information for that. Oh gosh, we're already almost out of time. Some other interesting news, well, actually, let me throw some news out first. I know Jan's birthday is in a few days, so wish her happy birthday. So, haha, gotcha. So definitely, yeah, wish Jan a happy birthday because she deserves it. She's a wonderful person who loves Faire more than, I mean, almost everybody I've ever met. So definitely deserves a good birthday. And Yes, there is some interesting news going on around TRF lately. Over the last week, a lot of buzz about their ticket prices and um, yeah, some of that stuff that has really been odd um, with camping prices and all of that. And I was actually really curious about that because, well, I mean, I'm a performer. I don't usually pay to go into Ren Fair anymore. Drew's like, oh Lord, because he's been he's heard all of that. I don't. The last time it's been over a decade since I actually paid to go into a fair. I'm visiting performer or something. It's just, yeah, that's kind of how I roll. But I do remember going to Faire and TRF back in the day. I went a lot during the '90s as a patron. So I just wanted to check into it and see what I found. So yeah, I went with let's do this. 7 reasons. So I did 7 reasons I think the pricing history of TRF is fascinating. Oh, and Drew's gonna. I'm no Drew's gonna just like I'm just zipping my. Not gonna say a word. I know, but I don't work there now, so whatever. Back all their pricing going back to 1998 that I could find, um, because I'm an obsessive freak that way, and it's kind of interesting because I remember going there in '98 and performing there in '99, but it is interesting. It is really interesting. So I'm going to go with the 7 reasons I think the pricing history is fascinating, and we're going to go with that. And first, I'm just going to put them all up real quick because we don't have much time. The ticket price changes over the years is probably not what people think because they don't necessarily remember. It's been really, really odd. Let me see if I have that handy. I did a little chart. I'm suck at charts, but this will give you a quick idea. When you go into '98, it was about $18. And over the next 11 years to 2008, it changed about $3. That's about it. It's $21 for a long time until 2008. And then in 2009, it jumped $2. And then for the next 11 years, it averaged a dollar rise every single year, went up $11. So kind of interesting because it was pretty static for a while. And then it just gradually kept going up and up. Every single year, there was a change. And I remember vaguely hearing about that, saying, hey, it's going up every year. Why? And that is a little crazy to do that. Normally, you let a little time go in between. But it has been slowly going up. So that's a little weird. That is a little weird, I think. Then preferential parking, which I thought was odd. That I'm gonna have to bring this up, and boy, I hope I have time to go through this, but I'll jump through this, and it's just kind of interesting. Um, Preferential parking started in 2013, and that was where the first 10 rows of parking you could pay to go in. They started with $10 and have raised it. Now it's up to 25, but you pay to get closer to the gate. It's very little, but I know it added some cash in there. So that was kind of interesting where they put that. But that's actually nothing to the camping cost changes, because back in 2004, they finally started charging for camping per vehicle, $5 per vehicle, and it started going up a little bit and continuing up to now it got to a maximum of about $35 a vehicle. And now they've started doing it per person, which I think a lot of people are complaining about because it's $25 per person, and that adds up quick. So that's kind of the problem with that. The attendance explosion in 2010. Now that I found interesting. I went back and looked at all the attendance. Those Beefeaters kept pretty good records, and yeah, they were from '98 on to almost 2008, 2009, something like that. They were pretty consistent between 235,000 to 335,000 people for the run of the fair. Well, then all of a sudden, boom, they knocked over 400,000, and then not a couple of years later, up over 500,000, and a few years after that, over 600,000. It just really started exploding. And I honestly, I don't know why. I have no idea. I don't know if they did some serious promoting or what. It's kind of weird. So that was kind of interesting. Very interesting. Then the package overload, that was pretty strange because, yeah, they had it's so confusing. And they've been gradually getting more and more, like more types of passes, more types of tickets, discount tickets, extra discount tickets, early discount tickets. I mean, it gets so confusing that it's really hard for the average person to follow it. And usually they'll just buy what. It, Here's my take. When a company makes it really complicated to understand what you should get because there's just too much, they're really making it so that they'll direct you to what they want you to get. That's the general gist. So that's kind of interesting. And I've seen that seems to be the route they've gone. Now, I'm not saying that that's horrible because a lot of companies do that. Everybody from HP to Starbucks. I mean, it's just that's what they do. Then the ticket prices this year, that was bizarre. That's actually one of the weirdest things I've ever seen for tickets at any fair I've ever been to or heard of. There might be some others that do that, but I'm not familiar with them. They've usually done discount tickets for the first weekend at TRF, but here's how they did it. If on the first Saturday, if you buy the tickets before May 26th, it's $15 a person. If you wait after that and buy them before August 26th, it's $18. If you after that, if it's before August 8th, then it's $20. And then at the gate, it's $25. So they have 4 different prices depending on when you buy the ticket. Sunday's the same way, but a different pricing scheme. That's cheaper. And then they do that throughout the year. Each weekend is not the same price as the next weekend. They have different pricing for each weekend and for each day, Saturday and Sunday. And discount tickets you can buy ahead of time. I mean, it is bizarre. And then lastly, I'm just going to throw this out, Sale of the Century, which is what a lot of people are complaining about. It was a deal where you get like 2/3 off your everything, your passes, your tickets, your whatever, camping and that kind of thing. And it was a great deal. At the time, you had to pre-order it. They only offered it one day, usually in May. And that was usually, I think when you talk about the ticket price changes that I mentioned, where after 2009, they kept going up steadily. Well, they had Sale of the Century soon after that. And I think that kind of caused people to not stress over it. If they really wanted the deal, they'd wait for that day in May and buy the tickets. And it was okay. But, Chris, this is the Texas Renaissance Festival. So yeah, that was sort of the 2/3 off. I mean, you're talking a third of the price. To put that in perspective, for Sale of Century in 2019, just a few years ago, this is pre-COVID, that's why I'm going with this year. They had, if you're going for a season pass and you bought it at the gate, it was $1,026 for the full thing. Now, if you bought it online beforehand, it was $740. But with the Sale of the Century, it was only $379. Bit of a difference. But yeah, it's still a little crazy. And but this year they're saying they're not doing Sale of the Century, so that is crazy. And yeah, Drew is right. There is different pricing for any day tickets. They have an any day ticket that is $40 each, and that's pretty strange. That's a really odd thing. So yeah. So yeah, that's the Texas Renaissance Festival. I see why people are complaining. At the same time, I mean, you can compare it to places like Disney, and you can see like a day ticket for Disney World is like $100+. So I don't know. I mean, I see both sides. I know they've been really pushing limits on size and how many people they can bring in, and I think that might be part of the problem. They're trying to redistribute people so that those weekends that really go crazy with people are a little less, and the slower weekends can add more people. It's really odd. I think this year they made a few missteps, but at the same time, the last couple of years with COVID, there are a lot of weird changes. So I don't know. They also, a couple of years ago, went from going down from 9 weekends back to 8. So that was kind of interesting too. And they're sticking with that this year too, 8 weekends. So not sure. Yeah, Drew's saying that there were some days last year where TRF was packed, and I think that's part of the reason, at least for the varying ticket prices. For the camping, uh, they have had some problems out at camping with some violence in the not too distant future. So, I'm sorry, not too distant past, the recent past. And if they're trying to charge more in order to pay for more security and do that, I can totally get it. But unfortunately, I think the PR group, they did not handle this very well. So there's a lot of complaining going on about there, and it's and like I said, it is confusing as all heck. I had to try to really dig through websites to try to figure out what it was just for this year. For the past years, it was tough too. And don't get me started on 2007 to 2009. Their websites are based on Flash. Oh my God. Oh my God. So that research was kind of interesting and a challenge. Um, and yeah, and Drew, I totally agree. The violence statistics for any part of TRF are super low. I don't want to insinuate that's a huge problem. But at the same time, if that's how they're justifying it, saying, "Hey, we're just increasing security," I totally get that. I totally get that. So yeah, that's kind of where we are with that. I just wanted to throw that in because I found it kind of interesting. Um, yeah, yeah, that's so yeah. But I can see both sides of that, I guess is what I'm saying. So I don't know, but do check out the page and see. I think the common consensus is there's not as much reason to pre-order tickets anymore, and that's why people are kind of upset because some of them were saying they're gonna pay over twice as much as they used to in the past, and that is a big change. So anyway, something to keep in mind if you are thinking about going to TRF this fall, and hey, if you do, go for it. It is a very huge, interesting fair. Uh, yeah, just do research, check it out, and see what works best for you. It is a little confusing, so don't wait till the last minute if you can't help it. Whew, okay, well, let's see. I'm sure I'm missing something. Oh gosh, yes, I know what I'm missing. I know what I'm missing. Yes, the fair map. Gosh, okay, so fairs for this coming up weekend. Of course, we have 3 fairs in Florida. Florida always has a lot of fairs. In the off season, they just really do a good job with that. It's really crazy. But yeah, we have the Bay City Renaissance Festival in Dade City, and the Florida Renaissance Festival in Deerfield Beach, and the Gulf Coast Renaissance Fair and Pirate Festival in Milton, Florida, that got added this week. Then we have in Alabama, the Alabama Medieval Fantasy Festival in Greenville, Alabama. And then, of course, in Arizona, still going on, the Arizona Renaissance Festival in Apache Junction. And where I'm going to be this weekend and for the next 8 weekends, the Sherwood Forest Fair in McDade, Texas. So feel free to check those out, and it is interesting. And wow, okay, so actually, yeah, I think I got it in about 30 minutes. It's um, yeah, it's about 7:40. Other than that, I guess just to let you know, I'm on my new interface. It's still rough. I noticed you could probably tell that I'm using very basic fade transitions like that. It's not the whole motion thing I was using in the past. I don't know if you even noticed. Um, uh, but yeah, this is kind of interesting. I just wanted to you can kind of see how it all works here with the setup. Yeah, if I take off the video, for instance, you can see the background and still hear me, but I just got some gold leaf graphic and rotated it as an animation and put it in a form I wanted and then used that as my background. I love that, right? Isn't that great? So yeah, but this is my new format. If you're curious, let's see. I'm going to show off for a second because I'm me. This is what my setup actually kind of looks like. You can kind of see that here. This is what it kind of looks like. It's a lot more streamlined than it used to be. But here you go, if any of you are curious. Yeah. This is what I have. You can kind of see my mouse over here and the audio of me talking. Then you get the different scenes and the different sources part of that scene. I'll bring up studio mode so you can still kind of see me, and I can switch over to, yeah, there you go. And yeah, so it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. So yeah, I can just keep taking off different things and adding them. Essentially, the scenes, the different sections that I go to, and the sources are the parts of that scene. So for here, you can see on the left over here, I have these different things. I can take off my logo and the Life's a Faire logo and the image and the my background and that background and even my video, and all I have there. If I put them all back, boom, here we go. That's really how all of this works. It's pretty sweet, right? So yeah, that's really it. So yeah, this is, and you can see, of course, all of the chat stuff, and this is how I select that. It works really well. Yes, it is just exactly like a booth. And when I click on this right here, you can see it pops up. Exactly. So it works really well. I like it. Okay. So yeah, let's get out of here. And yes, so I just thought some of you might be curious about my setup, and since I converted it over, I'm still going to make some changes to a different outro and transitions, but that's kind of where I am right now, and I've been pretty happy with it. So thanks for enjoying the ride with me, and it's I don't know, I may go into some tutorials about how I created all of that and how to make it work. Oh, it's too small, Chris. Oh, sorry about that. Like I said, I may want to go into some tutorial videos, or at least an overview video to start. And then do some tutorial videos about how to do all of that. But that's probably going to have to wait at least a couple of months till after Sherwood. I've got a lot of recording and work to do, so never easy. But hey, thank you very much for enjoying another Monday with me. Always fun, always great. And I'll have a lot of Sherwood news to tell you next week. So I look forward to that, and I hope you do too. So have a good day, a good week, and as always, a fair life.